Disafterdark is a member of the MiceChat podcast network, MicePod.com. Now, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Warning, this show contains childish adult content and is intended for immature, mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. The views spoken are ours and ours alone, not those of any other bugger. If you're easily offended, we strongly suggest finding another podcast. Everybody neat and pretty, then on with the show. There aren't that many podcasts that tell people to go and listen to something else, are there?
All podcasts should do it.
Yeah. Welcome to the bar.
You can't say that the audience haven't started clapping yet. There you go.
I can always put some sound effects in later. They won't notice.
What I want to know is, why did the studio audience decide not to clap until a predetermined point when we'd actually started talking?
And if you'd notice, if anyone's actually that got nothing to do that they time it all, they clap at exactly the same moment on every intro.
Yeah, but haven't you seen that bloke in the corner behind the jukebox machine with a board that says clap now?
How did it clap? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's him. He always does it at the same time.
I thought he was just wandering around announcing his disease.
I was going to say, I thought he was just warning everyone, don't come near me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Disafterdark. Yes, you heard us right. That's the one. I'm Paul.
Nick.
Paul. Short.
Yeah, that's it.
No, that's not my name, Paul Short. No.
And joining us in the Mouse's Head tonight, would you care to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm filmmaker Ben Lancaster, and I'm working on a project right now that I guess I came to talk about.
Yes, you did, and it's quite an interesting project. So we're really, really looking forward to it. We'll give you enough chance to plug it. We give people plenty of time to plug stuff anyway.
Sometimes too much time to plug stuff. But I can already tell you're not going to be one of those people.
Okay, well, let's start as we meet to go on. Gentlemen, what are you drinking?
I'm in the Mexican pavilion tonight.
I'll be joining you in there in a second.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I've got a bottle of Los Desperados.
Oh!
The desperate ones.
The ones with tequila in?
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers!
I love a Desperado.
What's Mexican for cheers? Well, whatever it is, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheerso.
Yeah.
El Cheerio.
El Cheerso.
Yeah, from an English person, you say it a bit louder and you add an O at the end.
Yeah, and wave your hands about.
All right.
Nick.
So first of all, big up Colin French. I was talking to him today, and he said to me, Carling or Stella Artois, which do you prefer? And I said Carling, and I didn't really have a preference, but it did lead me to go on the way home and pick up a bottle of Stella Artois Cidre.
Oh, from last week? Okay.
But peach.
Peach.
Oh, interesting.
So, well, I'm hoping so. Now, the other thing I need to say is today's edition of Disafterdark is sponsored by drugs, namely decongestants. So, I'm not
I wondered where we were going with that.
Yeah, family friendly, right? So, I'm going to drink this, and hang on.
It makes for good radio.
No, I can't see what it tastes like, sorry. I really can't.
You'll probably have a furry...
I have no taste buds.
You'll have a furry tongue tomorrow. Given that it's peach.
Oh, yes. You notice I inflected upwards at the end of that because it was alarmingly close to actually being a sigh, but I avoided it. Ben, are you joining us with a beverage in the bar?
Why, yes, I am drinking the Right on Red Ale from Orlando Brewing.
Oh, nice.
Because
I was surprised they have it at the Mouse's
bar.
Head, but,
Yeah.
you know,
It's an
they
import.
have some imports, yeah.
We do. I've obviously been shopping at the same shop as Mr. D. It must be something about the name Paul, the lack of hair, and everything, because that was me opening another bottle of Desperados as well. That momentary moment of panic. Yeah, that moment of panic when you think, oh well, I can't run and get another one now.
When in doubt, tequila.
Cheers, gentle. Yes.
Yeah.
Now if anyone wants to send us any beers any more beers from an Orlando-based brewery or anything like that at all.
We're open to sponsorship still.
We are open to sponsorship still, but they can, of course, if they want to do it, contact us via our website at www.disafterdark.com, or they can email us at podcast@disafterdark.com.
And they can find us on Twitter at Disafterdark, facebook.com/Disafterdark, and we're also on MiceChat.com.
We are, and it's my turn. I've lost
Careful.
track. Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, Bebo, MySpace, and soon to be something else when we release our first record or something. I don't know.
We keep up.
Yeah.
And as Benjamin can attest to, of course, Facebook.
Yeah.
We're trying to be a bit more active on the Facebook page. In fact, this is how this interview's worked out today. So if you feel that you may have asked us stuff in the past or we've not got back to you very quickly, we are trying to be a bit more forward-thinking there. So, by all means, give us a shout there.
Yeah, indeed. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of your filmmaking career, would you like a chance to plug where people could find you if you want them to?
Well, Facebook and everything is pretty much just my personal stuff, but the film itself can be found at facebook.com/WaltzFrozenHead, also at WaltzFrozenHead.com, and then the Twitter account is WaltzFrozenHead with no O and Frozen. Unfortunately, somebody had just snatched up that Twitter handle.
That's it. I'm going to start calling it in our house just Rosen.
Rosen.
Yeah, because I'm banning the daughters from it because I don't.
Right.
I want no F in Frozen. But that was my pun for the day. Yes, you heard right. Waltz Frozen Head. Right. I think we need to learn more.
Okay, well, the film is called The Further Adventures of Waltz Frozen Head. We did film on Magic Kingdom property without permission. And the premise of the film is that Peter, a low-level employee at the Magic Kingdom, goes down to the Utilidors one evening and runs into the room where they keep Walt Disney, who is now a head in the jar, who they freeze out every year to get consultation on the direction for the company. And Walt has never been allowed to go and see his park, which of course opened several years after he passed on, and convinces this employee to kidnap him for a few days, take him up, show him the park.
And
great idea.
That is stunning. And let me get. You filmed some of it within the Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
Obviously without permission, much like the recent black and white weird ass thing that went and did the rounds. Did this involve carrying around a stunt head?
No. Okay, so Walt's Head in the film exists in sort of a jar, kind of a box container, this sort of metal container, and then to get the head into the park, they put it in a bag. And people can see screenshots of this if you follow our Facebook or Twitter, but it's this large kind of duffel bag that's been modified, so it's got a flap in front that can be folded down. And then through the magic of some CGI technology, you'll be able to see the head then in the bag when they fold the flap down.
It looks like one of these cool bags that you take into the park. Is that...
this is the opposite of cool. I mean, it's covered in Disney pins, first of all, and then a large mouse ears applique on the side. Disney fans might find it cool, but let's just say you wouldn't want to be taking it to school, to middle school. You might get beat up.
Unless, of course, it had Walt's head.
Oh yes,
thawing out inside it. Okay, this is the sort of thing that obviously you see and mutter about. How did the conversation go? That yourself and is there a bit of a team of you or a crew?
No, there's a pretty large team. Our regular shooting production team is up to about 14 now. We had about 5 people who were really involved at that early stage as far as doing all the shooting in the park. But the conversation initially started as a joke, and I'm joking with some of my other filmmaker friends, and we're talking about potential movie ideas we've got coming up, and then the Further Adventures of Walt's Frozen Head kind of stuck as a title. and we developed it further and started looking to see, hey, is there actually a script here? Is this just a one-off joke? And I think we found something that's going to be pretty cool.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. I how much further can we delve into it without going into spoilers?
Oh no,
but
well,
then
yeah.
How much of a spoiler do you need to be that Walt's Head's there?
So,
Carry on.
I was just going to ask about the difficulties or the practicalities of trying to shoot in the park and what that was like and what you had to go through to get the footage. Was that difficult?
We were really surprised at how little we got hassled the whole time. We came in with sort of a camera on a monopod. It's a long selfie stick that sort of reaches the ground. So I was really hoping that Disney was not going to ban selfie sticks prior to our production, but we made it through.
So long as they ban them prior to the next time we go, that'll be fine.
Well, I think
trying to watch Wishes.
Technically, they're banned now.
Are they?
In certain areas.
Yeah.
I've stopped.
My understanding was on the rides.
Yeah.
On the rides, they've been banned, but not necessarily in the park.
Yeah, I've kind of stopped calling them selfie sticks. I think the best name for them is narcissistics.
Narcissistic.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ben, sorry.
Yeah.
You were saying.
So what sort of equipment? Are you filming it on?
Okay, so we're filming on a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Cam, which is sort of, it shoots raw. It's a great camera to have in this kind of situations because we didn't have anything in the way of lighting equipment. We had a few bounce boards that we had slightly off camera in times that we needed them, but as far as any filmmaking equipment, there just wasn't going to be that ability. So we got what we think is a really strong image coming out of it, just because the way we shot and the equipment we shot on. I think people are going to be surprised that we wound up shooting it so guerrilla style, and that it's not going to look like a guerrilla movie, like, for example, Escape from Tomorrow does.
Yeah. Other than what sort of cast are we looking at? There's obviously the CGI head, right, and the employee.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the story. And this is sort of how we decided this was going to be a good feature film instead of just sort of a one-off joke. The story is about that employee and the difficulties that he's going through with his daughter turning 16, and he's going through divorce, and things are getting a little bit messy in the divorce, and she's kind of choosing mom over him, and so he's going through this sort of emotional upheaval of letting go of his daughter and recognizing that she's becoming an adult. So she's in the film, his wife's in the film, and that sort of journey is sort of paralleled in Walt, as Walt's going through the process of seeing his creation for the first time and recognizing that he's been a large part of this, but maybe he doesn't need to hold on to that forever.
Yeah.
So that on a larger thematic, that's not the rip-roaring comedy explanation of it, but which it is a comedy, but that's sort of the emotional heart of the film. Mm-hmm. At least from my perspective.
So does Walt help the cast member to come to terms with some of his issues?
Yeah. I think they through this sort of journey together, they both help each other. So it's kind of turns into a little caper comedy as they're sneaking in the park and such. But then it kind of really turns into this very sweet family reconciliation movie. And so that's really what we're shooting for. We really wanted something that sort of reminded people of the movies that the Walt Disney Company made in like the 60s. The live action comedies like Parent Trap and things like that. Happiest Millionaire, movies like that really had this very sweet core, but with a very kind of funny, quirky cast.
Sounds great.
I think it's an absolutely brilliant idea. Where else have you, on the bits where you haven't had to film on location, where else have you been filming?
We haven't gone into principal photography for those sections yet, which is why we are actually running a Kickstarter right now. We have our funding. We would like a little more funding, and so we're running our Kickstarter campaign through May 3rd. So I don't know exactly when this podcast is going to get released, but hopefully people have a couple days to go and check that out and to donate if they feel so inclined.
I shall do my very best. What do the traditional Kickstarters have some sort of kickback? What do we get for our donations? Because we're all in for ourselves here.
Yes. Oh, of course. Well, I wouldn't expect anything else. There are multiple levels, and there are kind of the traditional things that you can get. There's a T-shirt at a certain level. You can obviously get the DVD and a digital download at a certain level. There's window clings that say I supported Walt's Frozen Head. I can't guarantee they'll get you anything like free parking at the Magic Kingdom, but you might as well ask.
Probably get towed away.
Yeah,
by Disney security.
That might be more accurate. But really, if you're interested in just throwing in just a few bucks, at $7 U.S. currency, you can get your name in the credits of the film. So we're trying to give a good return for people and give some nice perks for people who are interested. Yeah.
That is excellent actually, because at the moment, if anybody wants to search for me on the Internet Movie Database, you will see me attached to 40 episodes of Ready Steady Cook.
Really?
And to be honest, yeah. And you know what? I'd rather have that on there instead.
I am so going to IMDb.
I'm searching that.
Are
you on the Nick Branch or Soap Dish?
No,
Nicholas?
I'm on the Nick Branch, I believe. But that's it. Just reveal my identity to the world.
Oh, because
no
one knows.
Batman.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Nick, if we Nick, we actually have a special offer going on right now. If you pledge at the $7 level or higher, and then you share on Facebook or Twitter, you get to choose whatever credit you want in the film, subject to approval, of course. But we've had people who are going to be our hat demolition specialists.
Yes,
so if you've ever looked through the credit of film and wanted to be the hat box or the hat demolition specialist, you can choose that credit. No, but someone already took that one. So yeah.
You know what? In tribute to my wife, I would like to be the Fluffer.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you allow me to explain,
please do.
We were playing.
There's no way we can't.
If people listen to this podcast do not understand what the term Fluffer is, one, you're probably too young to be listening to this podcast, and secondly, if you're old enough and don't know, Google it. But basically, we was playing a party game with friends. I think like Mr. and Mrs. It might have been something like that. And one of the questions was, "What is your worst habit?" So I can't remember exactly what I guessed her worst habit was, but when we revealed the answers, I got it wrong, and she said, "I'm a fluffer." Now, the whole room erupting with laughter. I'm on the floor crying, and she can't work out what the problem is. And I said, "You do realise what you said, don't you?" And she said, "No." Well, she said, "Yeah." I said, "Fluffing." I said, "Yeah, but what do you envision that to be?" Because I knew what she meant, but no one else did. And what it is, when she was a child, that's what she was told to use as a term instead of the word fart.
Right.
So she would say, "Oh, I fluffed."
Okay.
For example, so her fluffing is because her farting.
That's what I know.
But of course, the world knows it as something completely different. So it's been a great joke ever since.
Yes,
I think I'd like to be the fluffer. On set fluffer.
I had a private giggle to myself yesterday. We had to. We've got a 5 metre above ground swimming pool in the back garden that we filled up. And you get it ready for the winter.
Hang on 1 second. I just want to point out to all our listeners.
Yeah.
Although Paul has this has got nothing to do with the podcast.
No.
We're paid sweet FA.
Yeah.
You don't pay us any money for this amazing content. Do not think you're contributing to a pool because it ain't.
Paul's life of luxury, yeah.
No, we're independently wealthy.
But we every winter you have to half drain it, and then at the start of the season, so come Easter time, we start to fill it up. It's got a bit of green stuff in it, and you have to put a very harsh chemical mixture in, and they call it a shock solution. Mm-hmm. Just to pre-shock the swimming pool to clear the water and get it ready to filter. So we spent a lot of money on chemicals yesterday. Bought them, and as we got home, my wife went, "Well, so are we going to go out into the back garden and do the shocker?" and knowing our conversation of a few shows ago, I had a small smile to myself when, if only you knew. Anyway, Walt's Frozen Head.
Yeah. So back to Walt's Frozen Head. So when you guys were thinking about it, and you're thinking about Walt seeing the park for the first time, what sort of was that a big conversation? I mean, have you got people in the team who are quite familiar with the parks or Disney enthusiasts thinking about, well, he would think this or he would think that? Was there a big discussion around that piece, Ben?
I'm the writer director and a huge Disney fan myself. So I'm not sure it was so much as a discussion, but it did. For me personally, it was a lot of thought because I knew this was going to be the big climax of the film. This is going to be the moment that people are, essentially the payoff, the big moment that people are coming to think about. So it was a sort of a lot of internal searching, and really a lot of this came down to the research and trying to do enough research that I felt comfortable showing what Walt's perspective on some of these things would be. And obviously this is a fictional film. I can't claim to know what he would think about any of these topics.
All that his head is actually somewhere underneath the park.
Oh, right. Still very possible, but...
I think it's just an absolutely brilliant idea of all the things you read in script writing books. It's like, if you're going to come up with a script, you've got to come up with an idea of what if this happened? What if a barbarian really did get murdered by his family, or what if aliens did invade? And someone came up with the idea, what if Walt was carried round as a reanimated head? Well, not even reanimated, just an animated head.
Thawed is what we're saying. Dethawed, something along those lines.
The irony of somehow being carried round not in the Disney bag, but in a Thor bag. That's my idea for... Sorry, I've gone. Someone else.
God, you two are suffering.
Bloody desperados.
Desperado, decongestant, whatever.
That 0.1% hit of tequila must have just got to me.
I'm actually quite annoyed that this Seedler only has 4% alcohol in it. I'm very disappointed.
Yeah. All this year's drinking, we should actually know what that percentage means, because I don't think it's just 4% of it is alcohol. I don't know. Might be. I could be completely wrong. Who knows? So exactly how drunk were you when you were sitting around a table going, go on with this idea?
I probably shouldn't reveal that for various reasons.
For the sake of some of your other team members might be
listening.
Yes,
to keep their reputations intact.
Yeah. I don't blame you. So, I can't even think of other questions to ask. You've been on other podcasts before. What have I asked you?
Well, I was going to ask you just when you're hoping to release the completed film.
It's a fairly long post-production process with the whole, putting the head in the jar kind of effect, and the fact that we are an indie low-budget film means that we've got more time than money, and so we'll spend the time instead of spending the money.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long process. We're really shooting to have a finished film by, say, January 2017. So we're really looking at about a year and a half out at this point. We're planning on hosting a big sort of backers brouhaha in Orlando sometime in late 2016, but we're not sure exactly when we'll get that on the calendar. We should really know more after we get through sort of principal photography, which is coming up here in the end of May. And we should be able to kind of have a projection for what our post-production schedule is going to look like at that point.
So
for our post-production schedule, to be honest, which is absolutely non-existent.
Well, yeah, and occasionally late. Sorry to interrupt, Paul, but just because I feel that if we don't say it now, we'll never get to say it.
Our fifth member of the band, even though there's only three of us normally.
Erstwhile Stuart Sutcliffe. Wasn't he the fifth Beatle?
Yes.
Or was he the Yorkshire
Stuart
Rapper? That was Peter Sutcliffe.
That was Peter.
Well,
Erstwhile Peter Sutcliffe. No, don't.
Let's not give any more airtime to the Yorkshire Ripper. He's had enough. So the full fifth member of the band,
Yeah.
who couldn't be here tonight, said in his absence, could we ask the following question: will there be a sequel where Walt's Head goes to Universal?
He's, I don't know. He's still got 3 more parks to go to.
Yeah, we have
and the
Epcot.
water parks. That's what I want to see.
Realistically, though, could Walt spend a full day at Animal Kingdom? I mean, that's the big question.
That is not a big question. The answer is no.
Yeah, and one that raises a lot of ire on various forums.
It's not a one-day park. It's a half-day park.
I can't imagine this bag on Everest, and so, if you cut that out, you know, dinosaurs just running around in the darkness. What else have you got?
Primeval Well, is that still there?
That's true.
Yeah.
Or as I like to call the free chiropractic adjustment at the end of the day of walking.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm looking forward to the trips to whatever the studios is going to be called by the time it's changed its name to something else, where a bag is just floating in midair on the Tower of Terror.
That actually would be a pretty good shot.
And there has to be at least one photograph where someone is taking a photograph, sort of meta, of the booth of the photograph having been taken of them. And the bag float. I want to see you do that one. That would be CGI taken to extremes.
I don't think Walt's going to want to go to Hollywood Studios. There's too much Frozen there already. You want to stay away from that.
How could we... respect, how did we miss that one?
And the Jungle Cruise is another one he's probably going to want to stay away from.
Ned's Shrunken Heads.
Exactly, yeah. No matter what way you slice it or dice it, you're always going to come up ahead.
Of course, if you wanted to take him outside of the parks, you could probably take him to Disney on Ice. That might be quite homely for him.
Oh, and imagine the comedy scene if he ended up down in Splitsville. Not that the script hasn't already been written, but there you go. We're planning the sequels for you. We're planning the sequels for you already.
I'm furiously taking notes at this point. So,
it's just fun. So, how many other films have you been involved in before this one?
This will be my second feature film. My first one was a grad school product called Finding Xanadu. It went to a few film festivals, kind of died after that. The other one is on Amazon. It's called Lightning in a Bottle. It's kind of a fantasy comedy mystery that took place in a small town in Indiana that was unfortunately besieged by dark forces. So it came along kind of in that... unfortunately came along right before Twilight and wound up being a vampire film as well.
We've got small towns like that in England as well.
Oh, really? Yeah, besieged by dark forces.
Yeah, there's one our way called Lancing. Which you have to be very local to actually get that, but I think everyone's got them. Mm-hmm. I've sighed, haven't I? Carry on.
You sighed, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Down it.
Yeah, those are the two other features. But this ones are kind of the largest, the biggest, the most involved, and I think definitely really shaping up to be the best. It's the one that I've gotten the most talented people the most excited about. So, I'm pretty excited about it.
We are excited about it. So
yeah,
there you go, talented people. Obviously, when it comes to projects like this, where you're using the not the light, well, I suppose the likeness of an actual person or a real situation. What kind of legal issues do you come into play there? I appreciate that the UK system with terms of copyright and plagiarism and mocking is different to it is in America, but I'm just curious to see what kind of obstacles have or potentially could get in your way.
We do have a fairly in the US we have a fairly robust fair use exemption, which I believe and the legal counsel that we've consulted with believes we definitely fall into. But there is sort of a reality here that we're tweaking a very large corporation with very good lawyers and a lot of resources that could choose to go after us if they so deigned. Yeah. We're hoping that they don't. We hope that they see it really is a film that's coming out of the fan community. and that they don't see it necessarily as a threat or a compromise to anything that they're doing. We don't think it is. So we hope they don't come after us. But if they do, and it did sort of make its way through the courts, we hope we have a pretty good First Amendment case.
If not, it's just a story about some bloke called Dave Wisney.
Dave Wisney, yes.
who once had a theme, who started a theme park of his own called Wisney World.
That just happens to very strongly resemble.
Yeah.
No, there was an earlier version where we were more worried about that, and it was called Ward Finley. Or something along those lines. And at the end of the day, we're spending more time coming up with like sound-alike names for things, like, oh, it's Western Land. No, they use that one in Paris. Okay, it's
This is Future Land, not Future World.
Yes.
There we go. Yes.
There we go.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it does appear that Disney is producing a film starring Andrew McCarthy and Pauly Shore.
That is bad
Weekend
news.
at Waltz.
You can say that is bad news in general.
And the two washed up comedian actors go into a hot tub time machine back into the 60s, end up at a party at Walt Disney's house where he dies, and they want to keep up the pretense he's still alive, to hilarious consequences.
You know you're off to a bad start when anyone uses the phrase "with hilarious consequences."
I was joking. Benjamin. You can rest assured that Disney aren't releasing that into theatres anytime soon.
No,
if they want to use that, pay us first.
Honestly, the one they are releasing, which I think is maybe letting a little of our air out of our tires right now, is Tomorrowland, which has that really strong Walt connection that we were unaware it was going to have when we first started making and planning the timeline for this one.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anyone did until about 2 weeks ago, to be fair.
No, I know. So, we released our Kickstarter video, and we had pulled some public domain footage of the World's Fair and incorporated in the Kickstarter video. And I watched the trailer, not the preview video for theirs, and they were using the exact same shot, the exact same public domain preview footage. Yeah.
Well, funny, it's quite funny you say that, because I've watched your Kickstarter video. Mm-hmm. But I've still not seen this new Tomorrowland trailer, so I didn't actually know that was the case. I knew there was a Tomorrowland trailer that featured scenes of Walt, but I didn't realise basically they've stolen your footage. So I'd sue them for that, even though it's in the public domain.
I really must get around to researching a bit more about Tomorrowland as well, because all I know is I thought it was about some weird kind of time travel type thing. I keep seeing clips and snippets, but
I think the thing is, it's good that you want to do that, but to be honest, I'm sure Benjamin will back me up here, that the problem with Tomorrowland is they've kept all the cards quite close to the chest. Mm-hmm. So really that the whole idea is it's trying not to tell you too much, so that you almost don't know what it's about. You've got an idea of what it may be about, but they've kept it quite secretive, which I think is both interesting, but also on a film that's probably got the budget that it has, slightly concerning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite looking forward to a couple of its sequels, like Frontierland, Adventureland, and Main Street USA. But
Liberty Square, what else could you do?
But I think I saw one of the same chain of it. I saw one called Fantasyland the other week on a specialist download, and it wasn't what I was expecting.
It might be like that time that we accidentally watched the wrong version of What Women Want.
Yeah.
That did not star Mel Gibson.
Or accidentally visited Disafterdark rather than Disafterdark.
Yeah, we've told you before, kids. Don't do that mistake either.
So what at its largest? How big is the crew at any one time you've got? I mean, I've walked around Magic Kingdom with a video camera and some kids for YouTube. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, our in-park crew was about 5 people total. And it kind of fluctuated depending on the needs of the individual shot, and then the rest of the people would sort of scatter. So we didn't draw too much attention to ourselves. When we go into regular production...
Except carrying the big white reflector.
Oh yeah.
and then
Well,
run.
no, it's a little bit smaller than that. So
That's all right.
so think small. Think what
Okay.
you can do with like the back of an iPhone case that's kind of shiny.
Excellent.
Yes.
But outside of that, you're looking at a proper film crew.
Right. No, in indie, we are definitely an indie budget, but really a proper film crew. A lot of students coming from, I don't know how much you know about the Orlando community, but we have 3 film schools here that are really strong. So we're pulling a lot of kind of student filmmakers from those. It's a really great and talented group of people, and there's no way we could be able to afford them if we were actually paying them. So everyone is working really for
labor.
well, everyone's really working for passion, and that's really exciting.
Just
Sounds
because
like this show, to be honest.
Yeah, just because it seems like a really cool idea. Yeah.
So would that be would that be the Dave School?
Yeah.
The Dave School, actually, we were in conversations with them, but they really do a lot of post-production stuff.
Right.
So it's really more of a post-production house. Full Sail and Valencia and UCF are all really big film schools here in the area.
Oh, well, I know all about Full Sail. So I know about the Dave School, but I also know about Full Sail because of I'm a wrestling fan, so they do a lot of wrestling stuff down there.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do good work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, Paul. Yeah, you mock me when I say stuff like the Dave School, like it's such a preposterous name for a school, just because it is. But it's real, damn it.
It is
I'm
real.
on
I
Orlando
think they're actually at Universal Studios, if I'm not mistaken. They have one of the sound stages sort of back by like where Twister is, behind there.
Yeah.
That's the Dave School's tucked back there. If I
That's right.
I've not been there, but that's my understanding.
I've watched their channel occasionally. There's a TV channel in the UK called Dave, which seems to only show Have I Got News For You, old episodes of Top Gear, ad infinitum, and some Mock the Week. So, yeah, I don't think it's anything to do with that, is it?
No. By the way,
no.
anyone that's checking their listings right now for that show that Paul mentioned, Ad Infinitum isn't actually a TV show. It's not on their listings at all.
Isn't it? It sounds like a really sort of sci-fi type thing.
Yeah,
Joss Whedon.
Not on yet.
Joss Whedon. Yeah, Joss Whedon will be nicking it soon.
By the way, this is basically a film podcast tonight.
It is a bit.
How can we get 40 minutes into the show, ish, without even mentioning the fact that the Avengers is out in the UK?
Well, we've been talking about Thor for a bit.
We did talk about Thor for a bit. That's very true.
Yeah. Different spell.
So how is it, guys? We don't get it until next weekend, I think. So
Well,
you've got to let us
me
know.
Spoil it for you.
You've actually been to see it, have you?
Nah, of course I haven't. I've got
All
2
right.
kids. I ain't gonna see it.
Yeah. Welcome to our world.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I've been to
No one
Legoland
told me this
today.
when I signed up.
Yeah, I've been to Legoland today.
I see that actually. I see that. I've not, but it's had very mixed reviews. Mostly pretty positive. I've known about 10 people that have seen it, so I imagine like the box office here in the UK will be pretty massive this weekend. The weird thing is that everyone that's been positive about it has basically said it's rather good. It's very good.
That would be being positive about it, yes.
Yeah, but it's the thing is, I remember when I saw the first Avengers, I was like, wow, this was something. This is an event. It seems to be quite muted in comparison. And in fact, one person said to me, it's the Iron Man 2 of Avengers films. Now, obviously,
with
we're
Iron
not
Man,
including.
Yeah.
We're not including with that.
All right.
The Sean Connery, Ralph Fiennes Avengers film, because that's a different type of film.
That is a different Avengers.
But called the Avengers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you felt Iron Man 2 wasn't particularly good, the people who've been negative about it just kind of felt it didn't live up to the potential of the first one. Mm-hmm. And also, I think the thing is as well is that the last Marvel film we got before the Avengers 2 was Guardians of the Galaxy. And I've not come across anyone who didn't enjoy it or either didn't not like it or was blown away by it, by how good and how funny it was. And so I think there was that raised the bar again for it. So
have they given any reasoning why they actually chose the UK in advance? I mean, it's not like Marvel is a particularly British thing that they thought, well, Marvel started in London, so we'll release it in the UK. And
no, I can tell you why.
Yeah,
It's
I think
because
a lot of
we're great.
yeah, none of the particular heroes have a
Great
particularly,
Britain.
none of the heroes have a particularly British lean to them. I mean,
Yeah, well, I remember when Pirates 4 came out and they released it in Russia first. And everyone was kind of shrugging their shoulders. But my understanding at that point, and I don't know how this applies to you guys, my understanding at that point was the piracy in Russia was so bad that they figured they should release it there first so that people would go to the theaters before the good pirated copies would come out.
Yarr! Pirate copies of Pirates of the Caribbean.
again,
Exactly.
We've
It's
gone
a
meta
rest of
again.
oxymoron.
So they were flying, Johnny Depp to Moscow to walk the red carpet, which has two meanings there in Moscow.
That's yeah. I mean, to be honest, we don't have the piracy issue like we do in China or Russia. They're the two kind of hot spots for it.
We actually
it's
had
very weird.
people I know that specifically avoided downloading the first 4 episodes of Game of Thrones because they wanted to wait for it on television.
I know, so old-fashioned. So old-fashioned.
I'm just waiting for the other 6 now.
It's weird because it happens quite often with Marvel films, and I don't get it. I think Guardians of the Galaxy we got a week after America, but Captain America, Thor 2, and the first Avengers we all got at least a week before America. And I don't really understand why. But on the flip side of that, to give you an example, I think we mentioned this on the last show, Big Hero 6 came out in the UK the end of January, just a few weeks before the American home release of it on Blu-ray. So it's very much a case of swings and roundabouts. In that sometimes we can get something ahead of you guys and it's great, but other times we wait so long we actually go, you know what? I'll just wait another 2 weeks and own it. And I just import the copy to watch at home. It's taken that long. So, but yeah, it's a very weird one. No real sense to it at all.
In this day and age where, they're not handing around physical reels of film anymore, you'd think it's just a download or shipping a hard drive, FedExing a hard drive over to you guys. I don't know why it's not all simultaneous.
Yeah,
I know for most cinemas now, they actually get them from servers.
Yeah,
So it's not even hard drives now.
Satellite download. Yeah.
Has it got anything to do with like the actual actors themselves promoting the movie? Because obviously there's only
who can be
they
where
can only
at
be
what
in
point.
so many places at one time. But
that's a point. It may be a promotional thing.
Yeah, and by the way,
Liam Hemsworth or Chris Hemsworth, whichever one of the Hemsworth brothers it is, can only make it to London at that time or what.
Yeah, but I mean, on that note, for anyone that hasn't seen it yet, Robert Downey Jr. walked out of a press junket with one of our news reporters called Krishnan Guru Murphy.
Yeah.
And because he was a dick. And Robert Downey Jr. did the right thing.
Krishnan, not Robert,
out.
obviously.
Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. was the man, as he always is. And this guy was a dick. So watch that, because that's quite funny. If you like someone looking like a dick, acting like a dick, and then feeling like a dick, that's the video for you. I think we've reached our quotas of dicks for tonight.
We maybe perhaps we can just go off on one now. I don't know. There's
Fluffers, dicks. Yeah. This has gone down a really dark alley.
Yeah.
Also, I suppose we couldn't really get away for the third show in a row of at least talking a little bit about Star Wars.
It was going to happen.
Yeah. And I mean, please tell me we've now seen the trailer, the second trailer.
How many times?
I've seen every version of the trailer made, whether it was the original actual trailer or the one in Lego.
I mean,
The one in Disney X-Wings done in the planes style.
Yeah, well, that still looks better than planes. I'm not. I publicly posted this. I'm not afraid to talk about it again. But I was actually watching the simulcast of the speech at Star Wars Celebration, where they premiered the clip before it went online, like literally 30 seconds later. And I admit, I was in tears by the end of it. I was so overcome by emotion. I didn't realise exactly how much Star Wars still meant to me until I saw that trailer, because although I liked the last set of films that came out, they were lacking something. And even watching the first trailer, I felt this looks like a Star Wars film again. But that second trailer just felt like it had come full circle. And that final shot with Han and Chewie is just... I was gone.
I don't know if this was intentional, but I think they made the mistake, and maybe this was their plan in the first trailer, of showing you all the things that were new. And then in this next trailer, they're like, forget what's new. We're showing you all the things you remember.
Yeah, all the things you actually wanted to see.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's even like, it wasn't even until like the fifth or sixth time I watched it that I noticed in the first opening shot, when you see the Star Destroyer crashed, that there's actually an X-Wing right in the front of the shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's also obviously crashed. But I didn't even notice it because I was so taken aback by the scale of this ship in the background. I didn't even notice what was in the foreground of it. It just felt so good. And to the point where it's obviously clearly not going to live up to its expectation now. There's no way.
It's like the first trailer was released and it's like, oh, that's cool, that's good stuff. Oh, he's got a lightsaber with like a cross guard on it. That's not going to work. That's never going to work. No, I hate that. That's horrible. Oh, quick, show them Han, Chewie, and Luke.
That'll shut everyone up.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the BB-6, the little droid that they showed at the and that it's actually a physical? It's not CGI. Yes. It's actually a physical little robot.
They're building physical sets for a lot of it as well, which is
that's it. I mean, if you've seen the clips of the Millennium Falcon, they are on the Falcon. They're not standing in front of a blue screen whilst George Lucas is dangling a tennis ball over their heads. This is the real deal. And this is the thing, because Ewan McGregor famously was upset when he made episode 1, because he had this dream in his head of what it would be like to work on a set, talking to his uncle, who'd obviously been in the first Star Wars films. And it obviously didn't happen like that, because by the time they made episode 1, everything was pretty much done against green screen. And at least now, when you've seen the shots behind the scenes, it's there. It's like the original behind the scenes. It looks like a film set. There's actual props, and that robot is coming out for Christmas, I believe.
Old school.
I don't know if you're aware of it, but there's I can't remember what the toy is called, so I apologise. But there is a toy ball that works via Bluetooth that you control with your iPhone or iPad. And you can make it spin and speed up, speed out, and kind of go all over the place. And the company, and that was the inspiration for DB8, and that they are making one of those as that robot for Christmas. I can see that being like the toy that everyone wants.
Yeah.
Because immediately when he came out on stage, he always upstaged everyone, and that included the real Luke. Leia, Chewie, C-3PO. I don't think Kenny Baker was an R2-D2, but I mean, he almost stole the show. Just phenomenal. I mean, you can see that it's a real passion project. And when Star Wars was first bought by Disney a few years ago, everyone was kind of complaining about, Disney are going to ruin it now. I never got that hatred, because let's be honest, George Lucas did a pretty good job of doing that himself. And they were his own bloody films. So, they've come up with a real game plan. Yeah. The cartoon Star Wars Rebels has been good. the fact that they're doing what they're doing with the series and what they've shown so far looks good. At the end of the day, no company is going to invest that much money into buying a property to like just shove it in the ground. They're going to want to make it flourish, and I really feel they've put it into the right hands this time.
Yeah, I was a little bit unsure about the director to start with,
but he said there's going to be no lens flare, which is going to be amazing.
Yeah, that's what. I was looking forward to the lens flare, thinking, no, please no. And I'm hoping it doesn't go down the modern, traditionally accepted Disney route of, well, the first one didn't do that well, so let's not make the other two. Which I can't physically. I can't see happening. It's a Star Wars. All you got to do is make a film, put the word Star Wars at the beginning of it, and it will go through the roof.
Yeah, we fell through the last 3 times it happened.
Yeah, and we'll continue to fall for it.
But no, it looks like it might pay off.
Yeah.
So there's always that. Yeah. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad everyone's got the same enthusiasm as me on that. You know.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to
the right show for that.
Look forward to the third trailer where Jar Jar Binks appears.
Yeah, isn't he the main character?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that is one thing the Fluffer said to me once when they announced episode 7 was, is Jar Jar Binks going to be in it? And I went, why would he be in it? No,
I think they're saving him for a spin-off movie.
Yeah.
The further adventures of Jar Jar Binks' frozen head.
I've heard they're remaking...
where he gets passed back during the Super Bowl and punted as far as possible.
I've heard that they've bought the license to Charlie Chaplin's back catalogue and they're going to remake all the Charlie Chaplin films with Jar Jar Binks.
and a completely racist, overdubbed voice. Misa?
Be silent, which is good.
Yeah, but the cue cards that come up in between the shots will be in false reggae slang.
Yeah.
These are in trouble. I know this is going to be completely off topic and he's going to ruin the flow of the show. I know. But,
what flow would that be? The one that started off talking about someone who's actually making a film with the person who's actually making the film.
It's all been movie themed, though.
Yeah, it's got a theme.
Yeah, but this is where I'm going to bring it down. Because,
go ahead.
Here we go.
I did want to. I did have a. Well, I wanted to bring back the one segment that I think any of our listeners actually cared about at all.
Do you want me to hit?
I think it won actually.
Am I guessing what I need to press?
Yes, please.
This one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's Soap Dishes Sauce!
Hit it.
I mean, obviously, this is due to completely unpopular demand that I'm bringing back this segment. But
we should explain to Ben what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a good point. And actually, for anyone that's not listened to the show in the last year and a half, you probably won't know either. But basically, I used to get mad often. And I think actually having children chilled me out. And so, Soap Dishes Soapbox, as Brian Blessed famously recorded the opening to just there. It was Brian Blessed, I believe. Was my chance to jump on my soapbox and vent about something that would make me mad. That was the whole theme of it. And for a long time, nothing has actually made me very mad. But this week, something did make me mad. So much so that I kind of begged and pleaded for Paul to dig out his Brian Blessed tapes to find that jingle, just so I could have a little rant about something. So I'm not going to get into finger pointing, name dropping, promoting, anything like that, because I don't feel it deserves that attention to it. But I was listening to another podcast, because other podcasts are available. And the topic was about Disney theme parks. And in particular, it was about the experiences in the park. And it led to a conversation about parades in parks. And that the person that had gone to the park was standing there, queued up for about an hour and a half, something like that. And a girl had, she was adult, just there with adults, and a girl had tapped her from behind to see if she could squeeze through the gap to see the parade that was about to start. And the person's response to this was immediately no. And the actual words said were, "I know you're a child, but I'm a child at heart. And if your mummy loved you, she would have got there earlier." Now, I'm a parent. You guys are parents. Benjamin, you're a parent as well?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So, you might have different views on this to other people because of that. I certainly do. Before I was a parent, I'd been to Disney World a couple of times. I'd been to Disneyland Paris a lot. And there's been various times where I've been in that exact situation, with queued up, waiting for parade, before the parade starts.
Wait. You actually have to wait for things at Disneyland Paris? Because my understanding was that it was always empty.
You know what? I'm really sorry to be the bearer of bad news. If you're expecting to come over to Disneyland Paris and get to do anything about any queues, you've been very sadly misled. There are certain things that even the French will queue for.
Yeah, try Crush's coaster.
Yeah, anytime. But there have been occasions where we've been standing there waiting for parade, and a child or a parents of a child have said, I know the parade's just starting, but is it possible that my child could just stand in front of you to see? Because if you're right at the front, you obviously see the parade, and if you're not at the front and you're a kid, you're not going to see anything. And not once, pre or after having children, have we denied somebody to do that, especially when somebody asks politely. But when you're in a foreign place anyway,
Yeah.
like sometimes people don't speak English, sometimes people can't ask you in the right way. But I just felt that mentality...
I'm 6 foot and 220, get in front of me.
Yeah, right. That's the thing, right? If it was... and we've had this before. We've been in a situation where we've had a family asked to go in front. If it's a family... I don't jive with that. I agree with that principle, because why should you move for other adults to do it? But if they are happy to let their children stand in front, whilst they're in viewing distance of those children, then I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to look after that responsibility. But to turn around as a full-grown adult who is not going to miss anything by somebody that's 2'4" standing in front of them at parade time, I just couldn't believe. I was just really appalled by it. Sorry, appalled. I had turned it off. I actually stopped listening to the show at that point. I went on to listen to it afterwards just to see if anything else was done about it or said about it. And no, the attitude seemed to be, I'm in the right here. I'm a child. Why should I give up my viewing position for another child? And that's the thing. It's not giving up something. It's just letting somebody do it. That could have been somebody's first day in a Disney park. That could have been their only day in a Disney park on that trip. And you've just ruined a child's holiday because of your attitude that a small child dare want to get in front of you to see a parade that you may have already seen 10 times. And even if you hadn't, that child is not going to obstruct your view. In fact, Jesus, use that child as a way to balance your camera. Use them as a tripod if that's what you see fit to do.
Stand a cup of coffee on their head.
Stand the coffee on there. Balance your popcorn bucket. Put your child on their head. Whatever you want to do. But at the same time, Jesus, people, get a grip. If you're an adult and there's a small child who's not going to cause you any offence, who's not going to get in the way of you viewing something, how can you deny that person the right? Especially if you're an adult and you have children yourself. I just can't get my head around it. And so the reason I wanted to say this tonight was, again, I don't want to give that show publicity. I don't want to call that person out because, your views are your views. And if that's what you really feel and you're proud of that, good for you. Just because I disagree with it, and I'm hoping other people disagree with it as well, that's your position, your entitlement. But to everybody else that has a heart, to everybody else that cares about children and wants to give them a magical Disney moment, that wants them to experience the things that you would love to experience as a kid. If you're in that position where somebody asks you, can my kid stand in front of you? Or even if they can't ask you because they don't speak your language, but you know that the kid wants to get in front of you to watch a parade, let them. Don't ruin their experience because of your inept attitude and your stature of grandeur. That makes me mad.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
Well worth. Well worth it. I'm glad we brought that back just for
And
that.
that's international as well. That's not just for Disneyland Paris. As I said, I've done that at Disney World, and everyone will be in a position at one stage of life in a Disney park watching a parade. It will happen to you, and just bear that in mind.
If the question
it's
is,
not just that day; it's everything.
regardless of who you are, if the question is, can my child stand in front of you? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
If the question is, excuse me, can my entire family stand in front of you? The answer is a little bit different.
It's quite short.
Normally
answer.
starts with F as well, and ends in off.
Yeah.
Because I've been in that position myself, and that's a different argument.
The answer is, I don't think so.
So what about this scenario then? You get a tap on the shoulder, and you turn around, and there's a guy called Peter behind you, and he's got a box, and he says, "Can you put my box to the front so that
the head I keep inside can watch the parade.
Can view the parade." Well,
Now,
what's the answer there? That's a dilemma. It's an adult head.
Sutcliffe? Is it Peter Sutcliffe? Because we've already established that could be a different answer tonight.
Yeah, it could be different.
That box needs to have a tripod or a monopod of its own, and be held like a selfie stick up in the air. give the head a really good view.
And I should say, your comment I made about standing a hot coffee on a kid's head, don't do that.
Yeah.
Iced coffee's okay.
Oh, unless the
hot
cup is
coffee's
very
dangerous.
well insulated.
I think that's important as well.
Yes.
Or if they're wearing a hat, if they're wearing a hard hat,
Preferably
Mention
flat
hard
on
hats and
top.
Yeah, a flame retardant.
yeah, a hard hat's a little bit, a little different.
Flame retardant and waterproof.
Yeah.
That would do the trick.
Oh, maybe I could buy the name of human tripod on this project. That's I'm really wondering where my $14 is going to go. I'll tell you. But if people,
that would do the ego the world of good, but might have different connotations. He thinks.
no more
We
than
do,
Fluffer.
we do, hold the right to censor some of these potential names. So,
Oh yeah,
You may have
This is a
especially
family
with our
film.
audience.
You may have to exercise that right.
I'm not sure why some of these things actually need censoring, because I've watched proper Hollywood films where apparently someone is the best boy grip, and I have no idea what that means, but it just sounds dirty.
It's an alternative name for Fluffer. That's what it is. It really is. But if once again, just because you've all been listening, I'm sure that this film appeals to you as much as it appeals to the attitude of this show. Benjamin, if you could just remind people exactly where they can go to donate to this amazing sounding project.
well, if you go to Kickstarter and search Walt's Frozen Head, it will surely be the only thing that comes up. So you can find it that way. You can go to our website, which is waltzfrozenhead.com. You can go to our Facebook, which is facebook.com/waltzfrozenhead. But if you really want to hear, and this is a project that's been going on since August. So our Twitter account, which is Walt himself tweeting out his opinion on the company, life, and etc. That's twitter.com/waltzfrozen with no O head.
Frozen. Walt's
And also, if
Frozen
you
head.
Google
Frozen
if
Head.
you Google Adventures of Walt's Head, also the first at least 5 entries are all to do with either your Kickstarter or Twitter. So,
Oh, that's
you
fantastic.
can't
I was
even-
not aware of that.
No, I just done it now. So, I mean, people listening, even if you
Are you
suffer
googling
really
Walt's
bad
Frozen Head,
dyslexia
or
like
are you just googling Walt's Head? 'Cause-
No, if you go
that
if you go
gives
Adventures
better
of,
results.
yeah, okay.
you get better results. Yeah.
Yeah, Adventures of Walt's Head, and it comes up that way. So there's absolutely no excuse for anyone listening to not know where to go if they want to donate to this. So, well, good luck. You've got another, 2 weeks? Just under 2 weeks.
Yeah, just a little bit of time left here, and we could really use all the support that people are willing to give. So,
Good.
we're
Let's
throwing
hope
a lot of our own money in this, and this is really just a few $1,000s that can be a supplement to help us make the best movie we can.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Well, we will do whatever we can.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Really looking forward to
I'm
seeing the finished article.
I'm going to have to do this despite my wife going, we shouldn't be spending money right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really shouldn't be, but when I explain to her that it means that I could be a fluffer in a film,
Yeah.
I really understand my wife is going to go for it.
Yeah, we've got to get on the credits or something.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Cracking.
Brilliant.
Oh, and also congratulations on that note as well to our good friend Logan, who we were supposed to push more and we forgot to. Sorry. About his comic strip Kickstarter, which he passed last week. So, congratulations! It's going to affect America more than it affects us, but we're all friends here. So, look out for laugh-grams.
Excellent stuff. Right. How do they contact us? We'll do that bit.
Oh yeah, people don't have to just contact.
They can find us on. We've got a podcast, and they can find us on iTunes.
We're fully listening to us now.
Yeah.
But if not, if you want to send me any death threats, I imagine one person will this week. They can do so at www.disafterdark.com or email us at podcast@disafterdark.com.
You will never be invited
or
back.
you can tweet Nick Branch at Disafterdark. You can also find him on Facebook.com/Disafterdark, and he's on MiceChat.com.
And IMDb actually. Yeah. Well,
am I still there?
You can find us on YouTube, on Disafterdark Podcast, Instagram, Pinterest. You are still there. It's not just Ready Steady Cook as well.
Oh, is it also Living with Kimberly Stewart?
Yes. Who exactly is Kimberly Stewart? Because I googled Nick Branch IMDb, and I found Nick Branch living with Kimberly Stewart, and I thought your wife's not going to be happy with that.
My wife. She wouldn't be. No, she's Kimberly Stewart is one of the daughters of the Young Turks singer Rod Stewart.
Oh, okay.
And she had a very crappy, not very well received reality show back in 2000.
That appears to just be one episode.
I only worked on the pilot.
Oh, okay.
Audition process. I didn't get onto the full series.
You worked on the audition process for something called Living with Kimberly Stewart. What was the first audition question? So, is your name Kimberly Stewart?
Look, man, she's content.
For that?
That's all I can say. It was more the fact. No, because the show's called Living With, so it was potential housemates.
Oh,
that's what they were auditioning for. I can understand the confusion, but so there you go, 40 episodes. If my mum and dad still talk to me, they actually have all 40 episodes of Ready Steady Cook recorded just because my name's in the credits. As I'll probably never speak to them again, no one else will ever see those episodes. It's a bit like when the BBC wipes away
what do you mean as
Doctor Who like idiots.
What do you mean as they'll never speak to you again? It wasn't them that were at Disneyland Paris, unless they don't let kids push in front of them either.
Oh no, they hate me for other reasons.
All right.
So that's completely different. Let's just say there was an incident with my wife getting hit in the face. My wife getting hit in the face with a bra fillet, and we haven't spoken to them since. So happy days.
Yeah, at what point do I laugh about that?
And on that bombshell, probably.
On that bombshell, I'll hit this button.
Growing older is mandatory. Growing
up
is optional. Disafterdark, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
I need a pack of pork scratchings right
now. I could definitely go for some scampi fries.
Yeah, there is no pub grub in here. We need pub grub one night.
Yeah.
But seeing as we've already been caught out, like, not quite plagiarising, but accidentally doing it exactly the same time content as other podcasts, we can't do food at the moment, surely.
Really? I did not know about this potential lawsuit.
It's not. The fact that we both record at the same time, so unless we're listening in and recording at the same time, thinking, let's talk about this, is nice.
It's every chance.
Accident.
Well, Benjamin, thank you once again. And
thank you guys very much for having me.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
great
thank
project.
you very much. Speak to you all very shortly. Bye all.
Okay, have a good week. See you guys.
You on the way out as well. That's great.
That's the way to finish.
Get the size down to minimum.
I haven't cut out yet as well. This will go on at the end. Bye.